I'm here talking with Pete Savagian, Engineering Director of General Motors' Electrification Architecture and Electric Motor Release Center. Pete's also managed product development and advanced engineering for GM's hybrid systems. You had mentioned rare earth materials and the price and availability volatility that they've shown in the past. Do you see that affecting the strategy of drive change choices over the next 5, 6, 7 years? And how?
Yeah, so when you say 5, 6, 7 years, it's really good to talk about because the volatility of those materials, the price just, I think we went up 5 or 6 times in these materials, and maybe more for specifically the heavier, the rare earths in that rough patch in, 10 and 11. They've come back down mostly, but to a new point, not as low as they once were. And the volatility was so extreme because this all happened in the course of just, less than 2 years, up and down. And now you've got to wonder. But, of course, the business of making automobiles and the technologies that go into them is really something more on the order of a decade. So that is to say, design choices that we make today may not be in production for 3 years for a vehicle that may be in production for, 5 or 10 or more. And so there are consequences that are much longer lasting than, we can't simply change overnight our choice of using this kind of magnet or that kind of magnet or no magnet at all. And so we have a very measured eye when we look at incorporating magnets that have the rare earths in them today. We don't look at them the same way that we did, say, 3 years ago when it seemed like there was an underlying stability in the price of the materials. And now we understand that there's an underlying instability. And so when we look to the future, the strategy for our drivetrain and our choices, when we talk about the performance benefits versus the costs, we have to consider the costs and the volatility of the costs. And so it kind of puts a bit more of a tax on that decision-making process. Now, it's not to say that there haven't been great improvements in the magnets in response to the price volatility to be more thrifty with the use of the heavier rare earths like dysprosium or terbium. But indeed, they're still there in some measure, and the neodymium, that is kind of the base of these magnets, is also subject to that volatility. And we now know that, and we weigh that in our thinking and decision-making.
Pete, thanks very much for joining me today. I appreciate your time and wish you much continued success.